Hi everyone, welcome back to JoanneTechLover. I'm Joanne, and today I'll be going over this WASD Keyboard's Code Cherry MX Clear 10 keyless keyboard. I want to give a shout out to massdrop.com for providing us this keyboard. Here is everything that comes in the box. You get the keyboard itself, which I will go over in more detail in just a bit. But first, let's take a look at the other accessories. So you do get this user guide. It's quite simple, straightforward, nothing on the other side. Just shows you what each of the dip switches do, if they're on or off, as well as the function commands. Alrighty. Next up, we have this PS2 adapter, very cool, USB to PS2 adapter. And for some of you might be jumping for joy, because first of all, it saves a USB port and you can have NKRO via the PS2 connector. And you also get a performance boost over the PS2, but maybe some of you won't notice it if you're using USB and you compare it. Alrighty, so there's that. And then you also get a WASD wire puller. How cool is that? I only know, I think Ducky that does this. Most others give you this kind of cheapy plastic puller, which is not really great for your keys, so this is awesome. And then you get a micro USB detachable cable. Very cool, to, of course, USB. And let's see, you get 1.8 meters or 5.9 feet. And even comes with a Velcro tie. These are always cool, by the way. And this is, I believe, just a rubberized type of cable. Now then, onto the actual keyboard. Let's go over dimensions first. So it measures 363 millimeters or 14.3 inches by 5.6 inches or 142 millimeters. And finally, it is 30 millimeters thick or 1.2 inches. And it weighs in at 2 pounds, which is kind of standard for 10 keyless. And it's compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Now let's take a look at the keyboard material. So it's made of ABS, which is pretty standard for most keyboards, I'd say. It's UV coated ABS though, which is kind of nice. And you do get more of this low profile case for a more comfortable and natural typing position. I typed on it before, obviously I'm presenting it, and it was actually a really comfortable typing experience because I've tried other Cherry MX Clears and I have to say, this is definitely my favorite so far. Alrighty, and like I said, with the NKRO over PS2, you get 6-key rollover over USB. However, it allows for additional key presses after 6 keys are recognized, so it's not just a 6. Something I want to note is that it's got this very sturdy construction. So it's plastic, but it's thick and very durable. So let's take a look at the back first, shall we? You get these 6 rubberized feet, which is quite a bit. Normally, I only see 4 to keep this unit in place when you are possibly in a high intense gaming or maybe just typing session. You also get angled feet right here. Would like to see angled feet down here as well, depending on your preference, of course. So it's just an extra option. So here's kind of how it looks with the angled feet. And let's go ahead and close these. You also get channels. I love cable channels. So you can clean up some of that cable. And the micro USB port is right here where you plug in the cable to be able to use this keyboard. Now, last but not least on the back here is the dip switches. So switch 1 off and switch 2 off is the standard QWERTY mode. Switch 1 on, switch 2 off is Mac mode for those Mac lovers out there. Switch 1 off, switch 2 on is Dvorak mode, and switch 1 on, switch 2 on is Colmac mode. Here's how the Dvorak layout looks and how the Colmac layout looks. Now switch 3 off is caps lock, which is caps lock, and left control is left control. Switch 3 on is caps lock is left control, and left control is left control. Switch 4 off, scroll lock is scroll lock, and switch 4 on, scroll lock is the OS key lock. Now a little bit about the scroll lock key. Using it, you can go ahead and fully disable the Windows key operation, so it's a nice gaming feature touch. Switch 5 off is the OS keys enabled. Switch 5 on is OS keys disabled. Now switch 6 off is menu key equals menu key, which is the context key. And switch 6 on is menu key equals the function key. So for those of you who wish to access the multimedia buttons, as well as adjust the LED brightness of your keyboard, that will be important to keep on. So switch 6 on. One thing to note is that if you change any of the dip switch settings, you have to be sure to unplug the keyboard and replug it just so the settings will take effect properly, because I changed a setting once and then I didn't unplug it and it was just all wacky. So there you go. Now for a look at the front of the keyboard, it does come with a standard QWERTY layout, and you do get blacked out Windows keys, which I don't see very often, but it's very good for you Mac users out there, so it's not just like, oh, that darn Windows. Anyway, and as for the spacebar stabilizer, it is a Cherry MX stabilizer, so it is definitely sturdier than the flimsy wire kind that you get with a lot of keyboards out there. And never mind the oily parts out here, because when I removed it yesterday and I accidentally got some of the oil from beneath the spacebar on it. The reason why I have the keyboard laid out like this is because the function key and the special alternate commands are on the underbelly of the keycaps. Very interesting. Well, I have seen that before, but not common. Now then, so the context key, once again, with the switch 6 on, you'll be able to access the function key. And using the function key, we'll hop on up to F11 and F12. For F12, it will turn your LEDs on and off. These are individually backlit keys, and F11 will adjust the 7 levels of brightness. Now over on this side, the pause using the function key is mute, volume mute, and then the rest are your multimedia keys such as play pause, also volume up and down, etc. I've removed some of the keycaps, so you can go ahead and check out the Cherry MX clear switches beneath, as well as the LEDs that come with each of the switches. Very cool. And also you'll notice that there is a white backplate beneath the switches, and that is so it can help further illuminate the white LEDs of this keyboard. So a little bit about the Cherry MX Clears. They are medium stiff, tactile, so they have that bump, and they are non-clicky, so not as loud as, let's say, blues or greens or something like that. And they are similar to MX Browns, except they have a larger bump that you can feel. And they have a high resistance of 65 centinewton, so it could help your fingers in the long run if you don't bottom out. So now for a quick sound test. It's not bad, actually. Last but not least is the LED demo. So function key or context key, F12 turns it on, turns it off, and F11 goes through the 7 levels of brightness. So this is the lowest right now. So haha, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 brightest. And now for pros and cons. So what do I like about this keyboard? Plenty. It is very sturdy construction. You do get a white backplate that helps illuminate the white LEDs, which do get pretty bright on its highest setting. Also on the back is the dip switches. So who doesn't like being able to switch from Windows to OS, Mac to Colmac to Dvorak. Also, as to the back of the keyboard, I do like that you do get some cable channels to go ahead and clean that up. You do get a PS2 adapter to it and wire key puller. Yay! And now for the cons. So I would have liked to see a dedicated function key as well as a Windows lock key, because it's kind of annoying to go back to the keyboard to change the dip switches just because I would like access to the function key. And as for the LEDs, I would have liked dedicated function maybe 10 plus 11 to change the backlighting levels instead of just cycling through using one button. And one last thing, I believe the con would be the price tag. It is a bit steep at $150. However, for some of you, it might be worth it to be able to switch between Windows and Mac, as well as check out the different key layouts. Well, that wraps up this look at the WASD Keyboard's Code Cherry MX Clear 10 keyless keyboard. They also come in the full size if you are a fan of the numpad, which I am. Alrighty, well, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons, as well as follow me on social media. JoanneTechLover Facebook fan page, Joanne Food Lover Twitter, and twitch.tv/WillTune, where I game stream with Tim weekly. Also, don't forget to donate so it can help expand this channel and feed this techie. One last thing is Storenvy.com. Be sure to check it out and purchase my 8.5 by 11-inch autograph prints if you would so like. Alright, I guess all that's left to say is mwah! See you next time!